well, experience is always there, right?
Yeah.
So you refer to it as pretending that it's not there. You know, I might say just distracted, you know, because I don't have time to pay attention to that. I'm too busy and, you know, the
Too
tasks
busy
of the day.
looking at my smartphone.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I mean that's what we see happening. And before that, it used to be, you know, also all sorts of mental distractions. Before they were, I'm not just picking on smartphones. It's easy to distract ourselves with all sorts of things that are not important because we don't want to face the possibility of something that is so big, so that like this universe that we live in, that it would totally overwhelm our senses if we actually lived into it. And our senses are designed to be overwhelmed. And, you know, I mean, the contemplative training is to let that soak in without drowning. Learning how to swim in it. Or actually maybe swim or I flow with it so that it doesn't, you know, it's not like the wave. It's like, you know, the two ways to deal with a wave. You jump underneath it or you jump on top of it.
Yeah.
But what you don't do is wait for it to come crashing down on you because then you'll drown, more than likely.
Yeah, right.
So it's that kind of it's that kind of experience that we're going for, is to be in the flow, which means, oh shoot, there's an obstacle coming, duck. Or, you know, there's a rock coming at you, move to the side. You're not going to go through it. You're not going to go through the rock. It's going to go through you, right? And so that's our intellect in some way is like that rock coming at us really quickly. And if we're not careful, we're going to crash into it. And it's going to destroy us.
I mean, it almost sounds paradoxical. Because
of course it is, because we're using language to have
well, right, but even like our senses are there to experience this, but also like our senses would be overwhelmed by it, right? So it's almost like we have to shield them somewhat, or at least like you were saying, be aware and cognizant enough to go around the rock as opposed to crashing into it.
Yeah, I think we have to become friends with the overwhelm. In order to mitigate the overwhelm, we have to become friends with it. We have to become familiar with it. You know, it's like, again, you know, I like all these analogies. It's like, you know, if you're jumping into a pool, right, and you're using, you know, the diving boards, right? When you're a kid, you go up to the 5-meter board and takes you a while, if you start as a little kid, to have the guts to jump off. And if you get the guts, then you move up to the 10-meter board, and then you move up to the 15 and the 20, and you know, and you do it little by little. You train yourself to face your fear until you're not even thinking about it anymore. It's just like, you know, a professional diver will go up to the 30-meter or whatever board and just jump off, and highly trained, has no fear, has all the tools necessary to deal with it. That's the kind of familiarity with the flow and the overwhelm so the overwhelm disappears. Overwhelm is a metaphor for our fear. So we conquer our fears. Conquer is the wrong word. We become one with our fear until it resolves into itself. We resolve into it.
So we are both conditioning ourselves, and we are also opening ourselves more and more, so that experience, which might seem too visceral, we are tuning ourselves more and more to being able to receive it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, skiing is another good example. I said, if you don't know how to ski and you launch yourself from a really steep hill, you're going to crash and you're going to hurt yourself. And if you get even a little bit of training, your chances of not dying in the process start to go down.
Yeah.
Right? And if you get a lot more training, you can actually enjoy the ride down. You can actually, it can become the most intense and beautiful thing in your life. But it's the same thing. You have to kind of learn how to flow with the universe. Learn how to flow without using the wrong tool, which is our intellect. You can't ski down a hill with your intellect.
Yeah.
You can't ride a bike with your intellect. It doesn't matter if you've read a book about all the bike mechanics in the world. It's something you actually have to learn to do experientially. It's not something you can learn how to do thoughtfully.
Yeah. Well, you know we ski, and my son is interested in jumps now.
Oh, good.
And, you know, so like I wandered with him into the terrain park the other day, and I mean, you'll see people skiing where they do these jumps and they're amazing, right? But I'm in the air for like half a second and it's like utter terror.
Yes.
It's like I'm not.
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's just this moment of like, I don't know if I'm going to land. I don't know if I'm going to die. I don't know anything right now. I'm totally groundlessness.
Yes.
It's just for a split second and then boom, you hit. And you're like, oh, I think I have control.
Yes.
And I think it's like that.
I think it is. I think that's a good analogy, and you know, it's kind of, we've also used this analogy before. It's like jumping into the abyss, right? Making the leap of faith. This is the analogy of the leap of faith, right? It's just like you don't know where you're going to land, but are you truly a faithful person? Do you believe that something bigger is out there? When you take the leap of faith, you do. You basically are saying, I surrender.
Yeah.
I surrender to something bigger than my understanding of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trust that happens there.
Yeah, and you know, I'm not advocating blind faith, right?
Sure.
Although at some point there's room for that too. I'm saying, okay, you've used your brain, you've analyzed, you know, all of the pros and cons, you've, you know, talked to a bunch of people about it, and now is this something you want to do? And at that point, you have to lay down all of that understanding and learn how to do it. And that's an experiential. Like riding a bike or skiing down a hill or jumping off that springboard at 30 meters.
Sure.
Right? It's something you have to train yourself in a different way, in an experiential way.
Yeah.
And with spirituality, that's absolutely, you know, this, and of course it leads to what we were talking about earlier, both the pits of despair and loss and heartbreak and longing and the ecstasies of, you know, pinnacle experiences.
Yeah.
You know, those beautiful moments. And sometimes you go really quickly from one to the other and back. And you can't let that phase you. You can't let that phase you. You have to go, okay, oh, I'm here. All right, fine. I keep going. Oh, now I'm on this other side. Okay, fine, I keep going, right? And navigating through that is the spiritual journey.
So there's these, we've been talking about kind of I don't want to say the extremes, but the highs and lows, right? Yeah. The excitement of the experience, the joy of the experience, the sorrow of the experience. But what about just the flat space of the experience?
Yeah.
You could call it boredom. You could call
it. You could call it boredom.
Just the ordinary, right?
Ordinary mind is thou. Ordinary mind is thou, and that's. I mean, I think that's what happens when you experience that. The beyond is you kind of bring that and integrate it into your daily life. And so now, you know, I just came back from India, and I used to describe what happens on the streets of India as controlled chaos, right? There's just this mass of rickshaws and cars and people, and you know, it's all a big jumble. The lights aren't being respected. There's, you know, and I just came back 2 weeks ago, and I would describe it now as the most precise, tight choreography I have ever seen, which is a very different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And experiencing it. It's just like, people aren't hitting each other. They're just, you know, get out of the way at like right at the last second, boom. they get up close to that car, like within centimeters, inches, right? And either they and or the car move out of the way just at the right time. It happens again and again. You can have a 10-minute ride, you see it happen 100 times. And is that chaos? No. That's like precise engineering. That's the choreography of God, or choreography of the Spirit. That's being in the flow.
Yeah.
And so you can see things. It's that kind of precise choreography that we're going for on the one hand, and also it's a precise choreography of the unknown, because you don't exactly know where it's going to lead. You just trust that it's going to lead in the right direction, as long as you are in your lane, whatever your lane is. As long as you are in your lane, it's it and you are going to get out of each other's way, and then you're going to flow with each other in just the right way at the right time. If you're out of whack and out of balance, watch out.
Something in me wants to call that not even a plan, but an order.
Well, it's an underlying order. It's the theological argument. Right?
I know.
It's the engineering argument for the proof of God.
I'm realizing that.
Yeah. And it is true and valid as is, is the ultimate great big abyss. Are we navigating solo on a journey through, an ever expanding? I mean, we're talking about trillions of suns.
Yeah,
right? And solar systems, trillions. I can't even begin to imagine what that looks like from a numbers standpoint. It's so far beyond me, but I can experience it. I'm experiencing it right this minute. What it means to be in the midst of trillions of suns and solar systems and an ever-expanding universe. And that's the difference, I think. That's the difference in perspective.
It is a difference in perspective. I mean, even you just naming it, that you're experiencing it, it's nothing special.
No, it's nothing special. That's the answer to your daily life.
Yeah.
Question.
How can it be boring?
It can be boring if that's how you label it, but is it really boring in and of itself?
Well, I mean, when you say you're experiencing it, what I hear is we're all experiencing it.
Yes, of course.
It's all happening to all of us.
It's not reserved for the special. It's a gift, a curse. It's an experience that we all share. Absolutely.